Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho 1960 is more than just a masterpiece of suspense. It's a film that changed cinema forever. Its shocking twists, eerie atmosphere, and unforgettable performances have kept audiences talking for decades. But away from the silver screen, the lives of its cast members tell a far more poignant story. Many of the talented actors who made Psycho legendary have since passed away, some in heartbreaking or tragic ways. From sudden, untimely deaths to years of personal struggle before their final days, their fates are as haunting as Norman Bates' chilling smile. In this look back, we uncover the real-life endings behind the stars of Psycho. Anthony Perkins was born on April 4, 1932 in New York City and was 28 when Psycho premiered in 1960, stepping into Norman Bates with a disarming innocence that masked something profoundly unsettling. On screen, Bates was polite, fragile, and deeply disturbed. Off-screen, Perkins' own life carried similar shadows. His childhood was shaped by grief after his actor father died when Anthony was 5, leaving him in the care of an overbearing mother whose control reportedly blurred emotional boundaries. School years were a torment of bullying for his shy demeanor, forcing him into a habit of emotional concealment that would define his relationships. The industry saw him as a rising star after Friendly Persuasion 1956, but Psycho's success became a curse, typecasting him so severely he lost romantic lead roles. Studio gossip about his sexuality, coupled with his refusal to publicly date women early on, led to quiet blacklisting in the late 60s. Under pressure from both studios and societal norms, he underwent conversion therapy in the 70s, an experience he described privately as soul erasing. His most crushing career blow came when he was abruptly replaced in Goodbye Again, 1961, after an executive claimed he was too unsettling for a love story. Known to disappear from sets mid-shoot or reject entire scenes for being psychologically unsafe, he developed a reputation for instability, which only fueled the rumors. Though he married photographer Barry Berenson in 1973, seen by many as a strategic cover, Perkins maintained discreet affairs with both men and women, including alleged liaisons with Tab Hunter and Rock Hudson. In the mid-80s, he contracted HIV, but concealed the diagnosis from almost everyone, fearing total career ruin. He reprised Bates in 3 sequels, one of which he directed, keeping his professional mask intact until the end. On September 12, 1992, he died in Los Angeles of AIDS-related complications at 60. His estate, valued around $6 million, included Hollywood Hills property, a curated art collection, and long-term residuals from the Psycho franchise, which his widow managed until her death in the 9/11 attacks. Janet Leigh was born on July 6, 1927 in Merced, California, and was 33 when she took on the role of Marion Crane, the desperate secretary whose theft and ill-fated escape set Psycho in motion. Her performance, especially in the infamous shower scene, was groundbreaking, though Leigh later admitted the experience left her unable to take showers alone for decades. Raised during the Great Depression in a modest, often unstable household, she learned early to project charm as a survival tactic. Discovered by Norma Shearer from a photograph on a friend's desk, Leigh's ascent was rapid, but so was the scrutiny. Publicly admired for her elegance, she privately navigated 4 marriages, including a glamorous but tumultuous union with Tony Curtis that dissolved amid his serial infidelities and whispers of her own affairs with leading men. Industry gossip alleged she leveraged relationships with studio executives to secure roles, though Leigh always denied it. After Psycho offers for serious drama diminished, she was pigeonholed into horror and thrillers, many of which she refused, resulting in long career gaps. Her most crushing professional disappointment came when a television deal in the late 60s collapsed after sponsors deemed her image too sexually suggestive for family audiences, despite her public reputation for grace. She reinvented herself as a writer, penning novels and memoirs, some suspected of containing veiled references to Hollywood's power players in her personal betrayals. Though she avoided major public scandal, friends said her perfectionism strained relationships with directors and co-stars. She died on October 3, 2004, in Beverly Hills at 77 after a year-long battle with vasculitis. Her estate, valued at roughly $20 million, included California real estate, a significant art collection, decades of film royalties, and best-selling book revenue, ensuring her legacy remained untarnished in the public eye even as rumors persisted in private circles. John Gavin was born on April 8, 1931 in Los Angeles, and was 29 when he appeared in Psycho as Sam Loomis, the steady but emotionally restrained boyfriend of Marion Crane. In the film, Sam was rational and grounded, but Gavin's performance was so rigid that Hitchcock privately dismissed him as a mannequin, reciting lines noting his discomfort with the film's sexual and violent overtones. Gavin's childhood in a strict image-conscious family instilled discipline, but also a deep insecurity about proving himself, pushing him into a military career before Hollywood. His early acting years were marred by rejections, and even after landing high-profile roles in Imitation of Life, 1959 and Spartacus 1960, critics accused him of wooden delivery. The most humiliating episode of his career came when he was officially cast as James Bond for Diamonds Are Forever. In 1971, contracts signed fittings, completed only to be replaced by Sean Connery at the 11th hour after producers feared Gavin lacked international box office draw. The news leaked to the press before Gavin himself was told, leading to bitter resentment he never publicly forgave. Known for an aloof, sometimes condescending demeanor, he clashed with directors who pushed for emotional vulnerability. His first marriage collapsed amid rumors of infidelity, and although his later marriage to actress Constance Towers was stable, insiders claimed it was strained by his political ambitions. Leaving acting in the 80s, Gavin served as U.S. ambassador to Mexico under Ronald Reagan, where his hardline conservative stances drew sharp criticism from diplomats and local officials. In later years, he battled leukemia, quietly making few public appearances. He died in Beverly Hills on February 9, 2018 at 86 from pneumonia complications, leaving an estate worth about $4 million, comprising Beverly Hills real estate, diplomatic memorabilia, and modest but steady film royalties. Martin Balsam, born on November 4, 1919 in New York City, was 41 when Psycho premiered in 1960, portraying Detective Milton Arbogast, a man of quiet persistence, razor-sharp observation, and fatal overconfidence. Audiences trusted Arbogast's determination only to be blindsided by his sudden, shocking demise, a cinematic moment that cemented the film's dread. Balsam's own story began in a cramped Bronx apartment, the son of a postal worker with a gambling problem and a mother who concealed her despair behind locked doors. As a boy, he endured schoolyard taunts about his thick accent and threadbare clothes, learning early to bury humiliation under humor. His rise through the theater was fueled by sheer will, but behind the curtain lurked ambition's darker edge. Colleagues accused him of undercutting rivals. For roles in industry, whispers suggested he'd quietly cooperated with blacklisting committees to protect his own career. Though widely respected for his craft, he was infamous among certain directors for explosive outbursts. When he felt undermined, one particularly volatile incident on a Broadway revival ended with him being escorted off the set mid-rehearsal after a drunken tirade. His personal life was equally turbulent. 3 marriages unraveled, one collapsing after leaked audio captured him accusing his wife of infidelity in a tirade peppered with threats to destroy her socially. Retreating to Italy in the 1970s, Balsam immersed himself in European cinema, but whispers followed unpaid casino debts in Monte Carlo, a clandestine affair with a titled Italian socialite, and a sudden withdrawal from a high-profile production after a backstage altercation. He died on February 13, 1996 in Rome from a stroke at the age of 76. At his death, his $3 million estate comprised New York apartments, European film royalties, rare theater memorabilia, and a collection of vintage cars assets partially liquidated in discreet sales to cover outstanding personal debts that few outside his inner circle ever knew existed. Simon Oakland, born August 28, 1915 in Brooklyn, New York, was 45 when he appeared in Psycho as Dr. Fred Richmond, the composed psychiatrist, whose chillingly rational explanation of Norman Bates's fractured mind brought the horror into sharper, more unsettling focus. Off-screen, Oakland's early life was turbulent. The son of immigrants, he was a gifted violinist who once seemed destined for a concert career, only to abandon music after years of enduring his father's violent temper and his mother's prolonged illness. The shift to acting offered both escape and volatility. Oakland was lauded for his intensity, but feared for his short fuse. Crew members recalled a man prone to sudden profanity-laced tirades, particularly during long, grueling shoots, and his gambling habit was no small secret. Colleagues spoke of loans never repaid and tense production delays when he disappeared for casino binges. His most humiliating professional blow came when he was cast in a major war epic, only to be cut from the final version after test audiences reacted poorly, a removal he considered a career wound that never healed. Oakland's marriage endured publicly, but was undermined by long separations, frequent rumors of affairs during location shoots, and financial strain from his gambling losses. Heavy smoking compounded by an erratic diet took a serious toll, yet he refused to slow his work pace chasing roles until illness made it impossible. He died in Cathedral City, California, from colon cancer on August 29, 1983, just one day after turning 68. His $1.5 million estate was divided between residuals from over 130 television appearances, a modest Palm Springs home, and a collection of vintage jazz records and rare violins. Several gambling debts surfaced posthumously, forcing his heirs to liquidate part of his assets quietly, a final reminder of the vices that had shadowed him throughout his career. John McIntyre, born June 27, 1907 in Spokane, Washington, was 53 when Psycho was released, embodying Sheriff Al Chambers, the picture of small-town authority whose genial skepticism concealed deeper apprehensions. Audiences found reassurance in his calm, while his colleagues recognized a man whose presence could silence a set. Yet McIntyre's early years were far from composed, raised in transient railroad towns. After his father abandoned the family, he witnessed his mother working herself to exhaustion, fostering in him both a fierce independence and a wariness toward intimacy. Breaking into Hollywood via radio and theater, he quickly became typecast in stoic paternal roles. Though his career endured its own unspoken scandals, quietly dismissed from a lucrative studio contract after heated clashes with a powerful producer, he developed a reputation for being uncoachable by younger directors. His marriage to actress Jeanette Nolan was publicly stable, but privately strained, marked by long filming separations and persistent rumors of on-location affairs with guest stars. His most bitter professional setback came when he was set to lead a prestige Western, only to be replaced weeks before filming, allegedly due to behind-the-scenes lobbying by a rival actors' camp. Off-screen, McIntyre could be intimidating, and younger actors described him as curt, even dismissive, if they sought mentorship. Years of chain smoking and a stubborn refusal to address his emphysema, worsened after a bout of untreated pneumonia, left him with chronic breathing difficulties. By the late 1980s, he had largely retreated from public life, preferring his Montana ranch to Hollywood soundstages. McIntyre died on January 30, 1991 in Pasadena from emphysema and lung cancer at 83. His estate, valued at roughly $2 million, included the Montana property residuals from decades of television and voice work, antique firearms from his Western roles, and a private cache of gold coins hidden in a barn loft, and discovered only after his passing, the habit born from a lifelong mistrust of banks. Patricia Hitchcock was born on July 7, 1928, and in 1960, at the age of 32, she played Caroline in Psycho, the chatty, almost naive secretary who offers Marion Crane a tranquilizer in an offhand gesture that now feels chilling in hindsight. Though the part was small, it was inescapably tied to her identity as the only child of Alfred Hitchcock and Alma Reville, a connection that both opened doors and closed them. Her childhood, while outwardly privileged, was shadowed by her father's authoritarian control and unpredictable mood swings. Friends later recalled she had perfected the art of smiling through discomfort. She fought to build her own acting resume in the 1950s, but producers feared her father's looming presence, wary of being scrutinized or, worse, manipulated by the famously exacting director. Her greatest professional disappointment came after a lead role in a studio drama was quietly reassigned to another actress, reportedly at Alfred's suggestion, when he deemed the project beneath the family name. Though publicly devoted to her father, Patricia clashed privately with him over career choices, once going months without speaking, after he blocked her from a television contract in New York. Her marriage to Joseph O'Connell was outwardly stable, but marred by episodes of jealousy whispers on set, suggested she sometimes indulged in flirtations, though none were ever publicly confirmed. Later in life, she endured the frustration of being sidelined from major retrospectives of her father's work, an omission she suspected was driven by old industry grudges. When she died on August 9, 2021 in Thousand Oaks at 93, her estate was worth around $1 million, consisting of inherited properties, valuable Hitchcock memorabilia, and royalty streams. While these assets ensured financial comfort, they also anchored her permanently to the legacy of a man whose shadow she never truly escaped. Lorene Tuttle, born August 29th of 1907 in Pleasant Lake, Indiana, was 53 when she stepped into Psycho 1960 as Mrs. Chambers, the small-town sheriff's wife, whose warmth was tinged with a gossiping edge, a deceptively simple role that Hitchcock used to hint at the undercurrents of suspicion running through the story. In real life, Tuttle's own undercurrents were far from placid. She grew up in a family whose fortunes collapsed when her father lost his railroad job, forcing a string of moves and leaving her constantly on the margins of new communities. A shy but observant child, she learned early how to hide her vulnerabilities and charm others' skills that later made her indispensable in radio, where she could disappear into hundreds of different characters. But in Hollywood, her poised demeanor concealed an ambitious streak that colleagues alternately admired and feared. Behind closed doors, rival actresses whispered that she manipulated casting decisions, using her influence to edge out competition and secure roles for herself or her favorites. She could be exacting as an acting coach with some former students, claiming she reduced them to tears in the name of truth. Her personal life was shaped by loss. The sudden 1974 death of her daughter, actress Barbara Ruick, shattered her emotionally and left her dependent on sedatives. Her marriage had long since ended in quiet bitterness, and she lived alone in Los Angeles, maintaining a public image of dignified resilience. The entertainment press never exposed her more ruthless side, preferring to highlight her union leadership as the first female president of the Hollywood Local of the American Federation of Radio Artists. She died on May 28, 1986 at 78 from natural causes, leaving an estate valued at about $1 million, mostly in property residual checks and careful investments. Her reputation remained one of professionalism and grace, but those who knew her best understood that her life story was as much about survival in a cutthroat industry as it was about artistry. Von Taylor was born on February 27, 1911, and in 1960, at the age of 49, he brought to life George Lowry in Psycho, the strict but fair real estate boss whose composed authority framed the morality Marion Crane would soon betray. Lowry was measured proper and steeped in the era's professional decorum, yet Taylor's own journey was fraught with contradictions. Raised in Boston during the Great Depression, he endured both economic hardship and social exclusion from wealthier peers, a slight that left him quietly resentful for life. After college, he drifted through odd jobs before entering the theater, only to face years of humiliating rejections. His military service in WMR, where he worked in intelligence, lent him discipline, but also deepened a solitary, guarded nature. In Hollywood, he gained a reputation for meticulousness that sometimes crossed into obstinacy. Co-stars recalled table reads derailed by his insistence on rewriting dialogue he considered illogical. A disastrous incident in the mid-1950s when he publicly accused a theater director of plagiarism while drunk ended his stage prospects for good. His brief marriage collapsed under allegations of infidelity, and he remained estranged from his only child, a fact he rarely discussed. As he aged, prescription sedatives became a crutch, a quiet dependency that insiders whispered about but never confronted. Despite these shadows, he maintained a steady career with appearances in The Twilight Zone, Perry Mason, and countless TV dramas, his reliability masking inner turmoil. Von Taylor died on April 26, 1983 in Los Angeles from a cerebral hemorrhage at 72. His $1 million estate comprising savings bonds, a valuable art collection, and modest real estate holdings became the subject of a contested claim by a former companion who insisted they had been in a common-law marriage, a posthumous drama Taylor would have loathed, but perhaps not been surprised by. Mort Mills, born January 11, 1919 in New York City, was 41 when he took on the role of the highway patrol officer in Psycho, a figure of silent, watchful menace whose brief appearances radiated authority and paranoia. His upbringing in a Depression-era household was strict and joyless, shaped by a father's relentless work as a tailor and a home where emotions were kept tightly in check. Mills's wartime service as a Marine instilled discipline, but it also left him with an almost obsessive need for control, something that bled into his acting career. Known for his work in westerns and crime dramas, often as lawmen or villains, he carried a quiet vanity that irritated some directors. He insisted on specific lighting setups to protect his profile and would refuse certain camera angles outright. His most painful career moment came in the early 70s, when a coveted recurring television role was abruptly taken from him after an escalating feud with a leading man over on-screen dominance, an altercation that allegedly turned physical. His personal life was equally fractured. 2 marriages ended quickly, both wives citing his emotional distance and long absences on location shoots. He had no children, few close friends, and filled his downtime with solitary drinking sessions in dimly lit bars. By the late 1980s, offers dwindled, and he lived mainly off rental income from a Ventura property, occasionally appearing in minor TV roles. On June 6, 1993, he suffered a fatal heart attack in his home. Unattended, the incident caused a fire that damaged much of his property. He was 74. His estate, worth around $1 million, consisted of real estate holdings, savings, and a small but valuable collection of vintage cars left to distant relatives who had barely known him. To audiences, he remained the unforgettable, unblinking patrolman from Hitchcock's classic. To those few who glimpsed behind the curtain, he was a man whose career and life were marked by discipline, isolation, and a stubborn refusal to bend. John Anderson, born October 20th, 1922 in Clayton, Illinois, was 38 when he portrayed California Charlie in Psycho, the used car salesman who, with a mix of affable chatter and sharp observation, became a brief but pivotal obstacle in Marion Crane's doomed journey. The role was small, but Anderson imbued it with the faintly predatory energy of a man who sees more than he says, a quality that was not entirely acting. His early life had hardened him, a mother bedridden for years with tuberculosis, a father whose gambling debts forced the family into constant evasion from creditors. After serving as a decorated World War II fighter pilot, he returned with discipline, but also an edge, channeling both into acting. His television career was vast, over 500 appearances, but it was accompanied by a reputation for being exacting to the point of arrogance. He would challenge scripts, correct directors mid-shoot, and on occasion storm off set if he felt a role was beneath him. His most devastating career blow came in 1978 when he was offered the lead in a new CBS series, only to be fired before production began after a drunken tirade at a rap party for another show. The incident spread quietly through the industry and marked the beginning of his gradual decline. His personal life was just as unsettled. His marriage ended amid whispers of multiple affairs, and his children eventually distanced themselves, citing his temper and emotional unavailability. Though he continued to work, he increasingly relied on alcohol in private, maintaining a polished public image, even as his circle of friends shrank. He died on August 7, 1992, in Sherman Oaks, California, at 69 from a heart attack, leaving an estate worth around $2 million. Much of it was tied to television royalties, modest investments, and memorabilia that later surfaced in auctions, remnants of a career both prolific and quietly marred by self-sabotage. George Eldridge, born September 10, 1898 in San Francisco, California, was 62 when he embodied Police Chief James Mitchell in Psycho, a role that perfectly suited his stern, no-nonsense persona. The son of a failed shipping merchant, Eldridge's early years were marked by hardship. After his father's bankruptcy, the family fractured and George left school at 14 to haul freight and work on the docks. The labor built his formidable physical presence and left him with a blunt, pragmatic worldview that would define both his acting style and his personal relationships. Entering Hollywood in the early 1930s, he was quickly typecast as authority figures, military officers, detectives, doctors, roles that mirrored his real-life demeanor. Over his career, he appeared in more than 180 films and countless TV episodes, often without credit, a fact that fueled a simmering resentment toward the industry's treatment of workhorse actors. Though he maintained an outward professionalism, his temper was notorious. In 1952, an incident on a studio backlot involving a drunken outburst and a stuntman's injury quietly ended his contract with a major studio. The story never made the trades, but whispers of dangerous unpredictability followed him. His personal life was equally turbulent. His first wife left abruptly after accusing him of gambling away their life savings. His second marriage, though longer lasting, was largely loveless, with long separations while he worked on location. In his later years, a series of strokes left him frail and increasingly reclusive, reportedly spending weeks without answering his phone. On March 12, 1977, Eldridge died in Los Angeles from complications of a stroke aged 78. His estate, valued at around $750,000, consisted of savings, a small pension, and co-ownership of a lakeside cabin in Tahoe. He left behind a reputation as one of Hollywood's most enduring supporting actors, reliable, hard-edged, and forever just out of reach of the fame his work ethic deserved. Thank you for watching as we reflected on the lives and legacies of the actors from Psycho 1960 who are no longer with us. Their humor, charm, and unforgettable performances brought joy to millions and helped shape the show into a classic. While their journeys ended far too soon, their impact lives on through every scene, every laugh, and every memory they've left behind. As we honor their lives, we're reminded of how deeply television can touch our hearts. Join us next time as we look back at more stars who left us too soon, but whose stories continue to shine.